Hello. Hello, everyone. And my apologies if you just saw our little blip beginning there. Thanks so much for your patience. As always, whenever we're working with live streaming, you never know what surprises are going to pop up. But we're back. And this is the one. I'm here for an hour and a half. Well, not quite an hour and a half today. I'll keep you updated about that. But for the next little while, I'm going to be here making art, hanging out, and you can join me if you like, make art along with me, or chat with other people in the comment sections, connect or reconnect with community members that perhaps you haven't seen in a long time. And if you're not up to that, if you don't feel like making anything today, if you're just not feeling inspired, that's okay too. You can feel free just to listen or watch, do what you need to do to feel good, to feel creative, to get a little inspired, and know that you're not alone. Even though you might be on your own, you're not on your own. We're here. We're out there to connect, to create, to help lift one another up in whatever way we can. So as I'm waiting for people to join the chat, let me explain a little bit more about what this is about. This is, again, a space where we can create and connect with one another, just like the LivingRoom art studio of old, the place we used to go to in person and drop in on. But what makes this difference, obviously, is that we are in our own homes, our own spaces, wherever that might be. But we ask the same kind of support from one another. So we ask you to be supportive and encouraging of one another, especially towards yourself. And if you're having issues with that inner critic, if those voices are popping up and they're just not letting you enjoy this time in this shared space, let us know. We'll talk to them. If they have nothing constructive to say, well, we'll figure out what to do with them. We can crush them, we can smush them, you can send them over to me in an email and I'll crunch them up and throw them out the window. There are so many things we can do. Just let that inner critic know that this is time for you to play, to relax, to invest in yourself and your community, and just have a little creative time for yourself. The other folks, of course, the other thing out there that's important to remember for people who are watching, especially if this might be your first time watching the live stream or watching it once it's been archived, it's important that we ask for folks to be respectful to imagine one another complexly. I'll say that in the best Vlogbrothers way possible. So if you're out there and maybe you've been using or drinking today, I'll invite you to take a step back and just, out of respect for the folks who might be participating in this live stream for their own recovery or harm reduction processes. We all know how difficult that journey can be. And I've never met anyone who doesn't have the ultimate respect for anyone going through that process. And of course, the last thing, the most important thing, is if anything happens here that makes you feel weird or strange or odd or I don't know, it can be anything. It can be me. Maybe I do something or say something that makes you feel a little wonky. Please feel free to let me know. I'm accountable in this process as well, and I always like to learn what I'm doing and how I can human a little bit more effectively. So please feel free to let me know. You can say that in the chat. You can send me an email or a message on Facebook to just give me a heads up when you've noticed or observed something that's not going in the way that helps people have their best day. And you know what? If I'm hearing some chat or participating in a conversation online here, I might make the same observation, and we can explore how we can be more supportive to one another in this community as we move forward. Because humaning isn't easy, especially these days. It's certainly not easy. And I'm hoping that folks can find me after the first live stream went down. But if not, I'm here anyways. So feel free to drop by and say hi and join the chat when you have that moment. Now, what are we working on today? Let's see. Let's just get into this making process and see. Today, I've been thinking a lot about the theme of resilience. I've been thinking about how resilient our community is. I've been thinking about just how powerful human beings can be when it comes to taking care of themselves and being mindful of taking care of other people who are out there as well. These are strange and uncertain times, and for a lot of us out there, this past couple of weeks has been particularly hard. And I'm hearing more messages from folks, not just in, Oshawa and Durham region, which is where we're located, but I'm hearing from folks all over the world who've been going through some very difficult times and struggles and doing their best to get by. That, for me, is the important piece, that we're just doing our best. And on that note, for folks who are joining the live stream, today is going to wrap up a little earlier than normal. It's going to run until about 2:15, and that is because I have an appointment for a vaccine. I'm super excited about this. I realize that it's an enormous privilege, and there are people out there who are still waiting to have theirs scheduled. And I really, truly hope that once everyone has the opportunity, you can do so. It's important for me to get out there and take this first step because I want to be a part of moving forward in this positive change. And I think, too, that, it's a step closer to me getting out there and being able to do community outreach in the way I truly love, which is person to person. And hopefully one day soon we'll be able to get back to doing that in a way that's safe and manageable for everyone involved. So, the theme of resiliency, it's been on my mind, and the choices that we make that help us become more resilient, that make it easier for other people to be resilient as well. So if you don't mind, I'm going to warm up today by adding some color to this piece here. This is a piece I created in the virtual Art Hive morning Zoom that we had just this past week. I don't know if folks are aware. Oh, there are the comments down there. How strange, people. So everybody, you know what? If I haven't been saying hello to you, it's because Facebook has rearranged itself. And I'm just seeing your comments now. So hello, Shelley. Hello, Andrea. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Wendy. And you know what? I'm seeing this comment and I'm seeing that everyone is, we've all been feeling it. And it's okay to feel the weight of everything that's been happening in the world. And I'm still so proud of everyone taking care of yourselves in all the ways. And like I'm seeing out there, Lisa, I know how important for Lisa, you're not alone. For so many people out there, getting to the gym, being outside, having that structure and routine has been super important to them in the past. And during this time when we can't have that, it's so difficult. I feel the same way about connecting with people in person. Sometimes that human contact is, not necessarily a physical contact, but just being able to share space with other people, for me, helps boost my mental health. And this, it's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it's actually pretty cool. And it's helped me during this time take care of myself in a surprising way because I feel less alone. And I feel like everything's possible now. It's maybe unfolding in surprising ways, but folks, everything is possible. We're moving forward in a really bright and hopeful direction. And Wendy's saying, congratulations on the vaccine. You got yours 2 weeks ago. Fantastic. Fantastic. I think it's such a lovely thing to celebrate. And I still want to be mindful because there's still folks out there who are trying to, it's a strange thing to celebrate, I think. I think that's what it is. I don't know if I've ever celebrated getting a vaccine in the past, but I feel like it's just this, it's something about solidarity. It's something about being, letting other people know that we're trying, we're doing our best, that we're hoping for the best, we're not giving up. Even on those days where it's hard, we're not giving up. And if anything, over this time, everyone out there, you've reminded me of how important that is. I can have bad days and I can remind myself that it's okay not to be okay, but in the back of my mind, I'm always knowing that, I can still move forward. I can feel difficult things and I can still move forward. I can cope with really weird stuff and I can still move forward and do what I can to have my best days. And Lisa is fantastic out there. Thank you, Lisa, reminding everyone perfect is overrated. I love that. Thank you. I think we can all be perfectly imperfect in our own ways. And maybe that's the only way to be, perfectly imperfect. Oh, Nicole. Hello, Nicole. Nicole reminding everyone about what day it is. So if you were in doubt, wow, that's fantastic. It's National Canadian Film Day, everyone. How about that? National Canadian Film Day. Of course, for all the actors, all the producers, all the directors, all the crew, everyone, all the writers, all the people that make Canadian film possible. I hope you're having a lovely day. And I think during this time, we've all realized to one extent or another how important culture is. Whether we've been binge watching things on Netflix or subscribing to whatever thing you subscribe to get content, or just borrowing things from Hoopla and Canopy, two of my favorite online sites. If you have access online, there are places connected to libraries where you can you can download and stream movies for free and TV shows. It's amazing. So if you don't have money, check out Hoopla and Canopy. They have such a fantastic selection, and your public libraries will know more about that and how you can access that stuff. And of course, they also have a great selection of Canadian films because they're a little more focused on culture and arts and the importance of that. So they're going to have films and television shows that maybe are not necessarily big blockbuster commercial successes, but tell stories that we can relate to in Canada. So happy National Canadian Film Day, everyone. Nicole also wants to remind us it's also National Kindergarten Day. That's interesting. National Kindergarten Day. Gosh. Does anyone out there remember what it was like to be in kindergarten? What an interesting time of our lives that is. And there might be people watching and listening who are in kindergarten. How about that? And hola, Teresa. Nice to see you too. Teresa, it was such a pleasure chatting with you. Not this past Tuesday, but the one before. Teresa Garcia Mendoza was my fantastic artist of the week that I was chatting to on Instagram. So if you missed that interview/chat, it's up on Instagram now on the Living Rooms page. You can go watch it, learn all about the fantastic work that Teresa is creating, and just learn a little bit more about what inspires her and her fantastic work. And Nicole says, can you share those names? Oh, yes. Oh, hold on. Oh, chat, where are you going? Why did my Facebook page rearrange itself? You know what? Just happens sometimes. So share those names on the show and tell post after this. Yes, you know what? I will. And you know what? I'm actually let me just take a break right now from this and I'll post them here, because if you're tuning in just now, I have to wrap up the live stream a little earlier today. And that is because I'm getting my vaccine. And I'm super excited about that. Well, I don't know if excited's the right word. I'm not too fond of needles. But you know what? I'm sure I'll be fine. Right? I might take my phone with me, look the other way. You know what I'll probably do? I will probably chat the ear of the nurse right off as she's giving me the needle. That seems to be my biggest distraction technique. And you know what? There are nurses out there who are I know there's a lot of people giving the vaccine. So who knows? Maybe it won't be a nurse. Maybe it'll be someone else. But there's so many amazing people who can help distract you while stuff like that is happening. And unfortunately, I'm just one of those people. I need a little bit of distraction. No shame in that. It's just the way I am for now. And you know what? Things can change. The vaccine rollout is reminding me of, actually speaking of kindergarten again, it's reminding me of the first vaccines I remember getting as a child when I think the doctors used to come into school, and maybe this happens still, I'm not quite sure. And we'd all line up and roll up our sleeves and get our vaccinations. And I remember then it wasn't such a big deal. I don't remember not liking needles at all. I wonder what happened along the way. Let's see. My Resilient Hearts art, inspired by our virtual art hive that we have every Tuesday morning. For folks, if you're not aware of this, it's fairly new, so you might not be, but we've started doing a Zoom group every Tuesday morning, 9:30 to 10:30, so it's pretty early. And that's kind of the point, to get people up and you don't have to change out of your pajamas. You're welcome to stay in your pajamas if you like. But it's just this place where we can come, we can connect, have a big cup of coffee as we kind of wake up into the day and get creative. So we get stuck in on something right away. And usually what I enjoy about it is that it helps me kickstart myself in a way that I wouldn't otherwise, have that energy. When I start making right away, first thing as a part of my day, it just sets me up in this really positive place where it seems like, you know what, again, anything is possible and I can tackle everything because I've already done something really cool. I've already completed a little piece of art. I've already had this fantastic conversation. And this week it was all about, all the themes were about how we've coped, how we've managed, the things we were kind of proud of that we'd accomplished during this time. But having to do with self-care. And it was okay to struggle. We had that conversation too. We recognized that not every day was easy and it wasn't always puppy dogs and rainbows. But somehow we were finding a way to get through, to be there for ourselves as well as for one another. And it was just a beautiful thing to acknowledge and recognize. And again, I want to highlight that and just spotlight that for anyone out there. You're doing the thing. And I think it's okay. It's okay to be proud of yourself. It's okay to say, I'm doing what I can. It's not always what I want it to be, but you know what? I'm getting through this time. And that is amazing. That is amazing. And anything that comes along the way in that, like if you're also managing to do other stuff, to make art, to stay on top of things, or to get back on top of things when you fall behind. That's kind of where I'm at right now, catching up with things. I'm trying to be very gentle with myself, compassionate. Self-compassion is the hardest compassion. It is, I think. I don't know. There are days where I can be really hard on myself. That inner critic just wants to, and I got to talk it down. I got to remind myself it's okay. I'm doing what I can. And Nicole, that's right, Nicole, you had your birthday last week. Happy birthday, Nicole. Happy birthday. And you know what? As long as we're on the subject, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people out there who've had a birthday in the last few weeks. Happy birthday to you too. Happy birthday. Let's see, what other things? There, happy anniversary, happy graduation. Happy made your bed, happy had a shower day. That's an important thing to celebrate, right? Happy, what are the other things we can celebrate? Help me out, folks. I know there are a whole bunch out there. Celebrating the little things as well as the big things. But definitely happy birthday to everyone out there who celebrated in these really strange and uncertain times. Happy day to you. I'm glad you're in the world. There we go. Celebrating the little things as well as the big. Finding the time and the space to acknowledge one another. Yeah, let's see what I can do with this. Oftentimes my warm-up pieces end up being the main pieces of my live stream. So we'll see where this one takes me. But I've definitely felt called lately to do some darker pieces. I think maybe inspired by this idea of resiliency and moving through the difficult things. And let's see. And Lisa has an interesting question here. COVID-19, or comment and question. Lisa's saying, COVID-19 taught me not to take things for granted. And here's the question for everyone out there, including myself. What is something that COVID-19 has taught you? Wow. Wow, that's a really lovely question. I think, similar to you, it's taught me not to take things for granted. It's reminded me of how important it is to slow down and listen to myself, and that it's okay. It's okay to what? To make space for yourself in your day. There's so many things that go on. I feel like self-care for me before had more to do with pushing through and getting by. And that doesn't work for me. So I think this period has taught me that I need to make time for myself and step back and walk the walk, right? And only then, you know, with that lived experience of self-care, maybe that might provide me with an opportunity to bear witness for someone else who's trying to walk along the same journey. I don't know. And we have, oh, Ellen. Hello, Ellen. So happy I finally used 17 rotting bananas in my freezer to make banana bread day. Fantastic. Congratulations, Ellen. I think that's an amazing thing to celebrate today. That feels so good, doesn't it? When you catch it and you're like, ah, finally. I too have experienced that. The well-intentioned banana bread hopes and not wanting to throw something out, wanting to use it and make use of it, and then just missing that window. Another day, but you did it. You did it. So that is definitely a pat on the back, slice of nice banana bread with maybe a nice cup of tea or a cup of coffee kind of moment. Congratulations. And Barb saying, good afternoon, fellow creators. Yesterday and today, we've been reinventing our spare room. Amazing how your mindset changes when you reinvent a space. Moving furniture around, making small changes, make a big impact. Well, you know what I'll say to you, Barb? Happy rearranging and reorganizing room day. That sounds like what a beautiful lesson that is to take away from this time as well, that we don't need a lot of things, we don't need a lot of stuff. Sometimes those really profound changes can come from tiny shifts we make in our lives, just about rearranging things so that we can look at things, see things in a different way, appreciate things in a way we haven't before. A good space rearrange can totally do that. A good tidy up. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's brilliant. And a lovely thing to remember as well. It kind of, when we change what we're looking at, we so much can change within ourselves as well. We make opportunities, new opportunities to appreciate what's around us as well as what's within ourselves. And Nicole saying, I learned how important communication is to all of us. Wow. Yeah. Yep. That's beautiful. Nicole says, my friends and I had a virtual games night on the weekend and had a lot of fun. Nicole, no kidding. I have been playing Dungeons and Dragons with some friends online over the last year. And I can really, really appreciate that exact thing. The virtual game night and just having that lovely little thing to look forward to, being able to connect with people with a kind of purpose and still being able to just be yourselves. It's online, but it still feels like you're sharing that space and time together. Yeah, I'm all for virtual game nights, folks. So remember, board game playing, all game playing, role play games, it's all a kind of creativity too, isn't it? Problem solving, imagining different things, storytelling. So, I mean, I might be a bit biased here, but so important. If you haven't tried a virtual game night with any of your friends yet, I highly recommend it. And I'm sure Nicole would too. Make some space, try something. You never know what you'll learn. You'll never know what you take away from it, folks. But what a lovely thing to learn from this time in the pandemic, how important communication is, how important it is for us to find ways of being there for one another, even if they're just simple things. It doesn't need to be giant, grand gestures, does it? You know? I think I'm grateful for the technology that enables us to be able to communicate in these ways. I'm also grateful, this time period during COVID, it's helped me reevaluate everything and come away with a renewed appreciation, gratitude, perhaps that's the right word, for the privilege that I carry in this world that other people might not. I think perhaps I might have taken that for granted as well. And a lot of complicated things, have emerged during this past year and a half. We've learned new things about the world, some dark things, right? Some complicated conversations have emerged. And it's given me an opportunity to really take a good look at myself, and especially the parts of myself that I'm not too proud of, my edges, the difficult kind of grumpy bits of myself, and just to reflect on why they're there and what I can do to shift those things. I'm sure I'm not the only one who has those edges. I think that's a very human thing as well. But I appreciate having the time to be able to look at them a little differently. And just like Barb talking about rearranging the furniture in a room, I think that reflection for myself, it's almost been like I'm rearranging the furniture within myself. Kind of my psychological furniture, if that makes any sense. And Nicole is also saying, you've also been able to meet up with people who have moved away. Both I and one of the members in my knitting group moved, but we can still all meet up virtually. Isn't that the truth? There are people who are watching and listening and participating in the chat here who don't live in Oshawa. I would never have met them if not for taking things online in this way. There are people who maybe couldn't come out to the living room because of mobility issues or just health concerns, financial issues. But being online like this has enabled us all to spend time with one another in a way that we hadn't for a long time. And I appreciate that so, so much. And I'm hopefully I won't take those relationships for granted ever again. And Teresa's asking, Mary, what are you doing? Well, today, for now, right now, I'm just kind of coloring in this drawing that I made as a part of the virtual art hive we had on Tuesday morning. It says, I'm not sure if it can be read because it's a little bit, in that special Mary way, a little bit wonky, but it says resilient heart. It's kind of a theme that emerged for me over the course of that morning Zoom. And resiliency, again, today is one of the themes. So I'm just coloring it in. I'm just doing some coloring today. But hopefully I might set this aside and explore darkness. Does that sound odd? Usually I use colors like this in my art. Bright, buoyant. I just feel drawn to using these kind of colors. But lately I've been exploring using darker colors and things, a palette that I don't really spend a lot of time with. And then I think it's about exploring contrast for me as well. Not being afraid of using those darker colors to explore perhaps darker things inside of me, but not in a heavy way, perhaps a way of letting them out and being able to appreciate them and view them in a different way. Does that make sense? And I might come back to this, but I do want to, I am going to move on and explore that other piece. And perhaps come back to this in a little bit. But what are you folks working on at home? Yeah? I'm hearing a lot of, knitting. Lisa loves to knit. Of course, Lisa loves to knit. I've seen many a fabulous Lisa creation at the studio. I miss seeing them in person. And Nicole loves to knit and crochet. Folks, what are you working on right now? Or what projects do you have on the go that you're excited to get to or get back to when you have a moment? because that's part of this virtual art hive time too, isn't it? Learning about what people are making as I'm chatting away here and responding to folks. We can't necessarily see what we're working on. Not in the same way we used to. But if you do have pictures you'd like to share or links to things that you've made that you'd like to share. Oh, excellent. Brandon is painting walls. Hello, Brandon. Nice. So nice to know you're here. Painting walls in your new place, I imagine. And let's see. Teresa's taking some classes online. Excellent. What kind of classes? Inquiring minds want to know. Lisa's knitting blankets and hats. Awesome. And if I remember, I think you were a mean sock maker too. And oh, of course, Lisa's also studying Russian lessons online as well. That's amazing. Wendy is beading a necklace with recycled beads. What kind of recycled beads? Are these upcycled from other sort of deconstructed pieces, or are these beads that you've made out of recyclable materials? Again, I'm curious. I want to know. Because everything you folks do out there inspires me to no end. Nicole saying, oh, lovely, working on a small dragon. A small dragon made out of embroidery floss scraps. Fantastic. Oh, and Teresa's taking those classes, in QuickBooks. So are you studying QuickBooks? That sounds important. That sounds important. And my inner angsty child is like, ugh, I don't want to do that, but I know how valuable it is. That's amazing. Wow. Lisa's also making socks, and you need to work on your second socks. Excellent. Oh, and Wendy's, so you recycling beads from other necklaces, broken necklaces. Wendy, I think I would love to have you on one of these days to do a live stream. There's so many people in the community I'd love to have on to do live streams. Because Wendy, your pieces are so beautiful. For those who aren't familiar, Wendy makes fantastic jewelry, often upcycled or repurposed from other things. One Hummingbird Lane is, I think, the name of Wendy's Etsy shop if you want to go have a look and support a local artist. And folks, if you're out there too and you have an Etsy shop that you'd like to share or shine a light on, or a YouTube page, please do, because I also know we have like Ellen Torrey who's in the chat. Oh, looking at that right there, comment coming along. Ellen saying, working on program notes for your recital, an hour recital about catharsis in nature. That sounds beautiful. And I think you mentioned, Ellen, that there might be an opportunity for folks to watch your recital online. Am I correct? If I am, let me know. I was just about to mention that you have a YouTube page as well, Ellen Torrey Music, where folks can go and listen to all your beautiful, 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 beautiful music. I think there's original pieces there, there's covers, but I know you're also in the midst of, I think it's, recital time. So this is crunch time for you in a way. So I hope you're finding some peace and care for yourself during this time, as hard as I know you're working. And Teresa working on the QuickBooks, and okay, you said it, boring. So my inner child might be a little bit right, but sometimes the boring stuff counts, doesn't it? It helps us do all the other stuff that we love to do. It's like doing taxes. You just gotta do it. Just gotta do it. Okay. So please feel free to share links. If there's things that you do and you love and you want to shine a light on them, put a link in the chat here so that other folks can follow it, can appreciate what you do. And if there are opportunities, we can support one another as well. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Nicole saying, yesterday I realized how someone can be amazed by something that takes you very little time. I gave someone something that took me only a few minutes as a finishing touch for a gift, and apparently Nicole made them cry out of happiness, I'm imagining. What a beautiful thing. And isn't that's so true. We take our own gifts, our own skills for granted sometimes. Sometimes that has to do with just how, I suppose, how we always look at other people and appreciate what they do and are comparing ourselves to what other people do. We forget that the very things that we do that bring ourselves creative joy, the things that we do, sometimes because we have to, sometimes for work, sometimes because it's the only thing we know how to do, we forget how beautiful those things can be for other people. And the things that don't take us a lot of effort anymore because we've worked on them for so long, for other people can be the beautiful thing that changes their day, that makes them smile, that helps them, moves them forward, helps give them a really good cry. And crying's important. You know what a fan I am of crying. And Ellen saying, yes, okay, good. So yes, you can watch the recital online. I'll send you the Facebook event, which I will make soon. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Ellen. If you haven't had a chance to listen to Ellen play and sing and all of that stuff, and I've only had a chance to listen to certain things, you know what? You're just an amazing, extraordinary musician, very gifted, and I'm lucky to know you, and I think our community is lucky to have met you during this time. You can also watch or listen to the Instagram artist chat I had with Ellen. I think it's up. It's also on Instagram, but it's now up on YouTube as well, on our YouTube channel, where we try to upload the archived live streams and workshops and different things that we do so folks can appreciate them after the fact if they missed them the first time round. So you can learn more about Ellen there as well. My goal is to talk to every single artist in the world. I want to talk to every creator out there. I want to learn about what you do, why you do it, what helps you stay creative, especially on those hard, difficult days. I want to know what makes you feel good and how telling your story in whatever way you tell it, through whatever medium or modality, whether you knit, whether you crochet, whether you sing, whether you write poetry, maybe you act, maybe there's something else that you do, collaging, maybe you have a nonprofit organization that you run, maybe your creativity comes out in how you engage with other humans in the world and the work you do for folks. Creativity looks like so many different things. And I think being an artist is so much more than just painting or doing that fine arts, traditional arts kind of thing. And it's easy to forget sometimes. And I think this sort of ties into what Nicole was mentioning, that sometimes we lose sight of the things that we do that are creative, that can touch someone else's life in a very positive way and make a difference. We take it for granted because we do it all the time and it just comes so naturally to us. Or perhaps we don't consider it to be a creative endeavor, but absolutely, it absolutely is. How we express ourselves. We express ourselves in so many interesting ways. So if you're out there, I want to talk to you, I want to interview you, I want to chat with you in an Instagram live stream. So if you're interested, if you'd like to, put yourself out there in that way, and I realize that not everyone wants to do that, and that's okay. But if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, actually, yeah, I think I could do an Instagram artist chat with Mary, reach out, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram. Send me an email. Emails are probably better than leaving messages on Facebook, just because sometimes I miss messages on Facebook for some reason. Don't know why. But just reach out, connect with me, and let me know. There's so many different ways of expressing ourselves, and each one of, everything that each one of us is doing has value. Oh, Carlos. Hello, Carlos. And then Nicole just highlighting, yes. So Nicole's saying, since we all create in our own way, you want to talk to everyone. You know I do. That's exactly it. I do want to talk to everyone, and I intend to. By hook or by crook. And Carlos saying, hola, y'all. I hope you're enjoying this spring, this spring day, despite, despite it being snowy here in Ontario. And as always, the piece is looking oh, well, thank you. Superb, says Carlos. That's a lovely compliment, and I'll take it. Thank you. I've been exploring the idea of darkness and resiliency and just how astonishingly creative and transformative each one of us can be in our own way. We've been celebrating special days, special moments, having happy birthdays, happy anniversaries, happy getting out of bed days, happy banana bread, using up all the the bananas in your freezer day. We've been doing so many amazing things, and I think it's so important to appreciate folks. And Carlos says, I wholly recommend doing the Instagram artist chat if folks are feeling okay to do it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, Carlos, I had so much fun chatting with you. I've always had fun chatting with everyone. And Teresa's saying, oh, so let's see. Teresa says, you need to interview a great artist. Myself? No, that would be interesting. I could interview myself, I suppose. That would be in its own kind of way, its own art installation, its own art piece, wouldn't it? Artist interviewing themselves. I think folks have done that before. It would be a little bit derivative, perhaps, but you know what? I'm into it. Perhaps someone out there wants to interview me. Hey, I'm game. If anyone out there wants to interview me, you know what? Like I was saying, I got to walk the walk. And Nicole saying, I joined a group centered around your new town, and I'm enjoying learning about your community. That is so important, Nicole, to learn about, well, where you're planted right now. It's, I think when we move places, as we get older, it becomes harder. This idea of making friends and how making friends and, it's easy when we're younger for some reason, or maybe not for everyone, but for some of us, it was easier. But then we kind of get to this age where it's like, it feels awkward. It feels awkward to ask someone to be your friend or to hang out. And one way we can connect with people and shake that off is just by, learning about where we live, learning about the resources that are out there, the other organizations or groups that we can maybe become members of or do things with. I love, the library. I cannot recommend the library wherever you are in the world. The library's enough. They have so much amazing programming. And I don't know, there must be a library near where you're at, Nicole. And, finding, if you're looking for folks that have like shared interests or that common ground that can often spark really amazing friendships, places like that are fantastic. I love it so much. And, interesting. And Carlos says, spoopy, just about the theme of today. Carlos says, we were literally talking about celebrating growth and exploring within the darkness. Is that a part of the group? I wonder if that was a part of the wellness group. That's exciting. If folks don't know, every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., there is a wellness art group that takes place in Zoom. The link is in our Facebook events page. You can find it. Just click on it to join. It's hosted by Caitlin or Kat, or sometimes Caitlin and Kat, these exceptionally beautiful human beings. And it's just wellness. It's art making. It's a place to let go of the hard stuff and explore things in a supportive, non-judgmental environment and create an hour long, just if on a Tuesday night you're looking for something to do and wanting to connect and just have a little support and creativity in your life. I can't recommend it enough. And just on that note of friendship making, Nicole acknowledging it is difficult making friends during a pandemic sometimes. And you know what? I've never had another pandemic to compare it to, but I have to agree. Yeah, pandemic friendship making can be complicated. I think it's fair to say. And I saw that from Ellen. Ellen saying, Mary, I will so interview you. Okay, Ellen. After, we'll talk. After your schedule is cleared from all the school stuff, all the recital stuff, let's talk. I think it will feel really weird to be on the other side, but I think it's important sometimes to feel weird and to step out of that comfort zone. Yeah, and walk the walk and appreciate. It will give me a whole new appreciation for what all the other makers and creatives have been doing and giving and sharing with me over this past year and a bit. Because I have appreciated how much folks have opened up and how much people have shared with me, with the community. It's made a huge difference in a lot of folks' lives. I can't speak for everyone out there, but the feedback I have received for folks to learn about another artist living in another place or an artist in their own city, perhaps someone that they've only seen or gotten to know in a very specific way. When we do these interviews, there's an opportunity for, it cracks open the window a little bit. It pulls back the curtain, whatever metaphor you'd like to use. And we have an opportunity to, again, one piece of that is knowing that we're not alone, because so many artists I talk to, they're worried about, we all want the same thing. We want wellness. We want other people to be well. I think we're really scared of letting people know that, of showing our vulnerability, I think, and letting people know that we're human. And I think there's a strange conception out there that artists or people who put themselves out there have to be this absolute tower of positivity. And the truth is, I think more positive things occur when we speak honestly about the struggles that we have, about the things we're trying to do, the things we want for ourselves, but may not, have right now. I think people really respond to that. And for all the people I've chatted to so far, whether in the Instagram artist chats or right here in the chats on the live streams that we do, I just want to thank you for everything you've contributed. I want to thank you for being here and sharing your heart as well as your art when you have the opportunities, because we're not having the same opportunities to connect. And maybe we never did. Maybe what's happened over this past year, as Lisa was saying, when we've learned to appreciate new things and the lessons, maybe one of the lessons we're taking away is just a renewed respect and appreciation for honesty, I suppose. Honesty and a willingness to accept our humanness, even though it's hard sometimes. Oy, sometimes it is hard. Humaning isn't easy. It's just not easy sometimes. But just because it's not easy doesn't mean that it can't be interesting or enjoyable. I know those two things, that might seem counterintuitive there, but I think you know what I mean, folks. There is a certain kind of satisfaction in owning yourself and your experiences and allowing yourself to be fully you and do what you need to do to take care of yourself. And it isn't always pretty, but it's always important. Always important. And I appreciate everyone who steps forward to share. And Nicole's saying, yeah, of course, the resources that are out there, a year of exploring and becoming familiar with resources. And Nicole's, it seems like you found a knitting group at the library that you connected with. Gosh, I love libraries. Libraries, if you're out there, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Just libraries, to the entity that is libraries. And yes, like staying connected and happy, like finding those people out there. You know what? Libraries will always have groups. We're hosting one for Oshawa for the Listening to Our Neighbors project over the next couple of weeks, every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Folks, Oshawa folks, you're welcome to join and share your stories about this community. We'd be happy to hear them. And you never know, you might meet other awesome people who share all of those excellent things. And Lisa says this is good to remember because COVID-19 also showed us. Interesting. Let me see if I can. This is good to. Oh, hello. So, just scrolling up here for a moment, folks. Catching up. Lisa saying this is good to remember because COVID-19 also showed us who are the right people and who are the people you need to weed out. So I think I know what you might be referring to, Lisa. I think for a lot of us out there was an opportunity to, appreciate the people we really, that really have meant a lot to us and have changed, changed our life for the better. And perhaps it also gave us time to evaluate relationships that maybe weren't as helpful or positive in our lives. Maybe relationships that were toxic or relationships that maybe we had for the wrong reasons. And you know what? Every opportunity we have to examine ourselves and, ask ourselves, why do we connect with people who aren't healthy for us? And what helps us connect with people who are going to lift us up, help us, move through the difficult times, be there for us in a way that's meaningful. Relationships are, that's another complicated part of the humaning process. And Carlos saying, yeah, there's a real opportunity to connect in different ways when we're able to safely be vulnerable. Like that, Carlos. I, for one, have been exhausted and sad and happy and joyful and weepy and disconnected and connected and so many other emotions over the space of, space of the year. Plus, it's encouraged a new honesty in absorbing and acknowledging my humanness. And Carlos, just for everyone out there, wants us to know he's laughing as he's typing that part. You just said it. See? Catching up on comments. We overlap. And it's, again, all the things that resonate. I think that's just a sign that what we're saying resonates with one another. And Lisa says, I wouldn't mind connecting with you. Well, there you go. So there's lots of opportunities to connect with people in the chat here. And hello, Saul. Saul Pink is joining again, saying hi in the chat. It's good to see you. So when Saul pops up, folks, Saul is a fabulous, and I feel it's fair to say, sometimes just a stubborn artist out there in the world who takes on ambitious projects and story tells his heart out. And I was lucky enough at one time to be in one of his movies. So I feel like I want to shine a light, like considering that today is National Canadian Movie Day, on those Canadian film creators out there. Folks, Saul Pincus is one of them. So if you want to show Saul some love today, feel free. Just shine a light on what he's doing and send him a little like or heart or something like that. Appreciating the creators in our world who help bring our culture alive, our stories alive in lots of interesting ways. So important. So Saul, thank you for giving me that experience in Nocturne. It was once in a lifetime. Hopefully not the only project I do like that out there, but boy, oh boy, what an experience. What an extraordinary experience. I was so lucky and grateful to be a part of that. And Nicole saying, again, just returning to that lovely library. Oh, wait, but before we go on, Carlos saying, but it's also, so I think this last year also allowed me a chance to connect and share experiences with folks and to say, oh, yes, okay. Talking about just that beautiful, the ability to connect online and finding new ways of connecting and examining relationships. To be safely vulnerable together is such an interesting concept. What does that mean? It can mean so many things. I think it's a question about what relationships are, isn't it? What friendship means and the many, many different kinds of friendship and connection that we can all have over our lifetime. Because I think, again, friendship is one of those things, relationships are one of those things that we think of in a binary way, either a friend or not a friend. But in truth, we have so many different levels and layers to the relationships in our lives, and we don't need to have the same kind of relationships with everyone. So having an opportunity to reflect on who's in our life and why are they there and what do I give to them as well as what do they give to me is such an important question to ask ourselves. And when you have that person or people in your life that you can be safely vulnerable with, that is what an extraordinary gift of friendship that is, right? It's an extraordinary thing. And that's something to appreciate so, so much. And let's see what's happening. And again, Nicole just highlighting, again, library love, folks. Nicole using the library for audiobooks. Yeah, again, library, fantastic resource. And just a reminder, for folks who maybe missed it at the beginning, we were talking about Canopy and Hoopla, two amazing free resources that most folks, I think, in Canada, at least in Ontario, you can access through your libraries and stream amazing movies, including movies that are hard to find on other platforms, for free. Folks, it's amazing. Canopy and Hoopla. Again, fan of libraries. And Joanna, hello, Joanna. Joanna just joining the conversation. Oh, sounds like a very important conversation here. I think so. I think every week we have such important conversations here. I really do feel like this is what it was like to be in the studio space. The only thing I'm missing is the cup of coffee that I'm losing all over the studio. I know exactly where my coffee is now. But in the studio, I would put it down on a table, walk away, and then who knows? come back to it a few hours later, find it under a heap of donated fabric. But these are the kind of conversations that occur when community comes together, when artists come together, regardless of what kind of artist you might be. We ask questions, we explore things, we're curious, and I love it. And Saul saying, oh, Saul, thank you. Saul saying, you're a fantastic artist yourself and a wonderfully generous human being. Oh, I'm stubborn myself too. Sometimes I don't know about that generosity. I have to question. I have to keep on my toes. I think I'm a little more cantankerous than people perceive. But I own it. I think there's something positive to being a bit cantankerous. Not necessarily a negative thing all the time. So my darkness piece, unfolding in interesting ways. I had a hard time not using bright colors in this piece. It's fascinating how that happens. And Brandon saying, oh, good to know I'm not alone. Brandon saying, I do exactly the same with your coffee at home. Luckily, I enjoy cold coffee. You and me both. I think maybe that's one of the things we have to learn about ourselves and accept. If we're constantly putting our coffee cup down in a different place, you're just happy to find it, really. And I have been known to drink day-old coffee. If it's just sitting in the mug where I left it, in a pinch. I don't know. Is that gross, folks? Is it gross? I don't know. Coffee's just coffee. I appreciate coffee. I'm sure that's not the grossest thing I do. This conversation has turned interesting, hasn't it? And Brandon, I know you're listening. I would love to chat with you too in an artist chat about gardening. I'm still putting it out there. Folks, if people don't know, Brandon Jasper Fayer is a member of DIG, the Durham Integrated Growers, a fantastic, just an extraordinary, exceptional green thumb, if ever I've met one, and just a generous, beautiful human spirit who gives and gives and gives. And as we do, I suppose, as a living room, and our community does with art, Brandon does with all the beautiful growing green things and not green things. So one day I would love to connect with you in an artist chat. Oh, and Brandon again backing me up, has my back. Drinking day-old coffee is not gross. Brandon does the same, so excellent. I'm not alone. Oh, that's lovely. And Saul saying, 2 stubborn heads produced something nice. Thank you. Well, Saul, I don't even know. Is there a way that people can watch Nocturne? I cautiously put it out there because I'm a bashful, shy person. But it is a beautiful, it is an art film. Just beautiful. You and Guy created something just gorgeous. And oh, Carlos again. Interesting to know, folks, there are a lot of us out there. So Brandon, you and I are not alone. Carlos also drinks day-old coffee too. It's just kind of like iced coffee, right? Just without the ice. Yeah, I suppose that's how I'm going to describe it from now on. So, folks, a reminder today, I'm going to be wrapping up this live stream just a little bit early because I have my vaccine appointment that I'm going to be rushing off to. But I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy that you were able to find me and join me here as well. I think this darkness painting is one I'm going to return to. So maybe I'll work on it over the week. Maybe I'll come back next Wednesday and revisit it and continue to build upon it with you. Oh, excellent. There's a lot of coffee folks out there. Lisa says, I'm a coffee addict and hopes one day we can all make art and talk again. And this for me is together, but I think I know what you mean. Oh, thank you Saul just posted the iTunes link to the movie. Oh my goodness. A little jolt just racing through me there. And again, thank you, Carlos. Awesome news about the vaccine. I'm not a fan of needles, but I'm very, it's important. I feel it's important to get out there and get it. And I know Teresa's saying me too. And I think that's in reference to Lisa just wanting those days where we can be together again, sharing a physical space in the studio. And those days are coming. There will be time where we can connect and create with one another in person again. It may not look exactly the same as it did before, but again, thanks to the Ontario Trillium Foundation, we do have the mobile art studio that is coming your way, I promise, one of these days. And when we have it, I will be talking all about it. You'll see stuff all over the Facebook. I will let you know, and I will take you along on the journey with us as we get it ready to get out there in community. And if folks are interested, perhaps even I can do another kind of AMA session on Facebook where you can ask all the questions you have about what the Living Room Project will look like as we're coming out of the pandemic, when it is safe to gather again. Because it was a special place for a lot of people. And it is my intention for whatever happens next, whatever it might be, whatever it might look like, that we will be able to create place and space together again in a way that will be just as meaningful for everyone. Maybe even more meaningful. Because as I've said before, what I've learned over these years is that it's not the building that creates the community. It's the people. It's how we come together, how we engage with one another, the stories that we share, the vulnerability that we find ways to communicate to one another. And yes, Joanna, when we do have the mobile art studio, we will still be doing stuff online. So don't worry, we'll be here and we'll still be able to connect with you as well. Because there are so many people during this last year who've reached out and explained that because they weren't able to make it out to the studio for all the reasons, that this kind of virtual Art Hive programming has meant so much to them. And they've asked if we can keep it going once the pandemic is past us. And even though right now it's hard for my head to wrap around the, being past the pandemic, I think I need to take things one day at a time. We will always have some component of virtual Art Hive programming moving forward because it has become so special. And hooray, hooray, says Joanna. Oh, how lovely. Yeah, it's become very important, and I think it fuels us in a different but equally important way, if that makes sense. So don't worry, there'll still be an element of this, and who knows, maybe there'll be opportunities to expand and collaborate, and as we move forward, have different hosts from different art hives. Who knows, Joanna, maybe at that time you might want to, maybe we can have you be a guest live streamer for us in our art hive. Maybe do one of the Thursday night art hangouts, because folks, if you're not aware, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. from 7 to 8 p.m. we have a guest facilitator come in to host a live stream just like this, just at night, where they make things and they create things with the community, chat, answer questions, chat. It's lovely. And again, we're looking for folks who want to host those for us, with us on the Living Room Facebook page. So keep us posted if you're interested in that. And Prin saying hello, hello, Prin. And Teresa asking about where to find the free movies. So Hoopla and Canopy. So here, I will type them in here again. And let's see, Hoopla. And I'm hoping you can Google, or if someone else is out there, you can. That's my music for you. But excellent resources that you can most often find through the library. I think Hoopla allows you 12 or 13 free downloads a month. Canopy might be the same. Canopy, for any of you folks who are, fans of the Criterion collections, they have lots of beautiful Criterion films as a part of their collection. They also keep up to date with new Canadian movies and what I guess, depending on where you live, I love the name foreign films because it's just a movie that isn't made in the place that you live, but it's not a genre really. It's just more movies. But they have so many different kinds of films available, and TV content and Open University content. They're fantastic. I love it. So there you go, folks. Get involved. Seek out that lovely content and appreciate it while it's there. The more we use it, the more we'll have, I feel. And it's interesting because here again, just appreciating our community and how diverse and broad it is. We have folks who are here watching, just in case you're not aware, at least I know, there's folks from the UK watching. There's folks from out west in Canada watching. There's folks from out east watching. There's folks in Montreal watching. We have from time to time people from the States who come in to watch. Even some folks from Europe from time to time who drop by. So what we're creating here together, and I include all of you, whether you're participating in the chat or whether you're just watching or listening, wherever you might be, you are helping to create something really special here in this virtual art hive. It is unexpected, it's a surprise. I never would have been able to anticipate something like this in the past. But you know what? Things happened and we used it as an opportunity together. We survived. We found a way to move forward, even when it was hard and difficult to do so. And I appreciate that. Again, that's just another example of our resiliency as a community, as human beings. How awesome is that? How awesome is that? So yes, all right. I better wrap up soon because I feel like this is the kind of conversation I could just continue having on and on. So let's have a little close up and see what this is looking like right now. So far, this is a spontaneous exploration of darkness, but in a good way. Darkness that examines resiliency and hope and the promise of brightness coming. I'm interested in working on this a little bit more. Yes, I feel there's more to explore here about that idea of what darkness is, because I don't think we have to be scared of it so much. Yeah, darkness, letting go, being able to acknowledge where we're at. So many different themes here for me. So many different themes. Folks, thank you so much for joining me today. This has really been just a lovely, lovely time. And again, I think I feel this and I say this every week. It's as much for me as I hope it is for you. I get so much out of this process, and I'm so grateful that you're here spending time with me and creating with me. And Prin, I know you love the dark art because we chatted about that in our Instagram artist chat. Oh, people, I'm glad to be a person along with you on this weird and wonderful and uncertain journey. And I know it's not always easy, and I know a lot of folks out there, we're still struggling, we're still scared for so many different reasons, and it's not all going to be figured out all at once, but things will get better. And you know what? We'll work through those difficult times together, because even though you might be on your own, you are not alone. Please try to remember that. And remember that there's always someone you can reach out to when you're feeling like you need a little bit more support or just don't want to be alone. Think about those folks in your life, those relationships that matter, that are meaningful, where you can be safely vulnerable, and just appreciate them, cherish them. For everyone out there who provides those opportunities for me, please know that I cherish you so much. And I'm thinking of you and sending you lots and lots of love. And yes, thank you, Barb. Barb saying good luck with my vaccine today. Ooh, take care of myself. I will. I'm going to distract myself as I get the needle and everything will be fine. But I know that everything will be fine. And I'll be back here, back making art with you, back connecting with you as soon as I possibly can. So folks, until we can connect and create with one another again in person, I look forward to connecting and creating with you right here online. Thank you so much for being here and for being there for yourself as well. Thank you. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, folks.